Oh, well, today's sunny where I'm at, and temperature's supposed to get halfway decent. Still a little chilly for as far as I'm concerned. What I wanted to do, I got to thinking, what is one of the biggest problems that faces society today, and that's how to deal with narcissists. Uh, our world is dominated by a lot of people with narcissistic tendencies. And, a lot of leaders today that's what they happen to be. They, at least when you look at all the signs of what it takes to be considered within the realm of being a narcissist, let's put it that way. And this isn't meant at any one person out there. So please don't think that I'm talking about you or me, because we all possess certain narcissistic traits, especially if you're a person that stands up. And so as you do that, you probably be singled out as having those traits. They'll be used against you rather than for you. But cults themselves go along those lines to a certain extent. And I'm going to explain a little bit of that if I can to you. And I hope you listen to me and don't get too bored along the way. When a person starts in this actions of building a volume of people to follow them, YouTube, for instance, is one of the best tools for doing that. And there's certain things that you're told to do within the cult type atmosphere of the tube itself is figure out how you can get people to come within your group. And they give you all these different things that you can do. But what it does, essentially, it's getting people to follow you. And you can use a lot of different methods. But you got to build yourself up too. You have to put a facade out there. It's a covering. Consider it a ball of protection over your entirety, your reputation, the way you really feel, what's you inside. But what you project is what you want people to see. And you're going to do just about anything to do that. It's built into you here. It's been pushed in there. Might be from how you grew up, the people you were around. You could have been the subject of being bullied or harassed, a lot of these things. And so you built this shell. And from the shell, you observed and decided to do certain things to build your own little world. So you want people to think how your goodness is. And you project that because you tell them that over and over and over, that you're a very good person, that you deserve their admiration. And you prove it by sharing something. And a lot of these people will ask you to share something with them. And there you go. Here comes the trap. As you do, it's like they put it into a little, on an index card, or in the case of YouTube, they film it in some way. Not always that you know about it, but a lot of times you do know about it. And a lot of people will give permission. I say, I don't have any problem. No big deal. Filming is all over the world. Why would I worry about it with you? And so now they build the portfolio for their domination over you, because they're going to ask you to share certain things with them. Yeah, and you don't know what's happening at the time, because they don't necessarily say, give me something that I can blackmail you with. They just want you to open up a little bit. And so they'll say a few words, and then they sit back and listen and record. And you spill out your life to them. This is what I've been through. This is what I'm doing. And you talk about personal things of your family that you wouldn't necessarily want to see. You don't want it out there in the daylight. It gets personal, very personal. And you get pats on the back and maybe a little tidbit from them that may not be true, but they tell you things that will get you to say more to them. Along the way, they make you a very good friend of theirs, somebody you can confide in. And they need that. They need you to believe in them, that they're your mentor. And there you go again. You see, you've let them slide into a dominant stature within your personality. You succumb to the charm, if you will, of this person. And for a while, you feel like you're the most appreciated person in their life. And you become very pliable to them. And like a vampire needing blood, they need your adoration. And so once they have that, then when they have full control, that's when they may treat you from time to time with some insults. In public, they may demean you a little bit. And later they'll bring you in and say, oh, you know what, we need to rectify that. Let's go and maybe they'll buy you a hamburger or something. Maybe they'll allow you to help them in some endeavor they're doing. Okay? So they're going to build up a following. And they use different tools to do that. And they target them towards certain types of personalities out there. People that want to follow somebody, the people that want to look up and say, I really believe in that person. And they make you believe that they are that person. So as they bring you into the depth of this, and all of a sudden you're in a cult, but you don't know it. Is a cult 1, 2 people, 500, 1,000, 10,000? It doesn't really matter once you get a group together if you have cult-like behaviors. And once you get it to the point where people will do anything at your bidding, then they've got you. And there are times where if they think they're going to lose you, all of a sudden they come down with some sort of a sickness, a problem, physical, mental, whatever it is. And you feel sorry for them and you're drawn back in 100%. Then they make you feel like you did something to bring this miracle back to where they're back in running again and you're part of this thing. You build them back. And in fact, what they did is they strengthened that bond between you and them. And now they know what buttons to push, how to trigger you as an individual. And they start gathering, birds of a feather, so to build this cult up. And then all they have to do when they get enough of them is, now we use this medium right here, YouTube, and we make it our tool, if you will. And I say our because each of us have a little bit of that in there if we're a person that stands on their own 2 feet. And with that power comes out a different person that's there. How they utilize that power. Now, a lot of people went on to be, let's say, chief of police, chief of the fire department, mayor of the city, president of the United States. All these leaders probably possess some of those certain tactics to get where they're going to go. In reality, each of those people are isolated by this shell that's around them, a shell of protection that they build for themselves. But there are others out there that are there for your destruction, to serve their means or needs. If it's a man, and let's say he uses it from a religious standpoint, we'll quote different parts of the Bible, where the women in his life are going to be subordinate to him, period. And yet the Bible actually says during the marriage course of marriage, we come as one. To me, that means 100% pure partnership between two people to become that one. Equal in all things, not dominant, equal in all things. It does tell you how to treat each other. But the narcissist is going to pull out different things out of the Bible that will meet their needs to get across to you at that point. They will repeat these needs over and over and over to you. Yeah, they groom you from the very beginning, from the moment you met. They will pursue what they want, and during that pursuit time, they become very cordial. They show that side of them that these people are looking for, somebody that will treat them like a queen or a king. And it works pretty well. There's so many people out there that need it. But what happens when you're caught in the web and you're having to assist them? They guide you in how to do these things because you're within the group, the tight group. And each group has an outer ring as you build a cult-like following. On YouTube, it's looked at as who your subs are. Subscriber or subjects? Which is it? I've went over this before. Because are you truly a subscriber that comes in for the entertainment and still stands on your 2 feet? Or are you subject to the master's manipulation, being the creator of the channel? When he says something, do you jump? Do you follow what he says? There are many types of narcissists out there. Some of them, the power, rather than this, it could be money. You have multi-billionaires out there that have no problem using the money as a whip. Some use this and the money and become extremely powerful because now they can reach out into different groups and control them. The person that is in the closest group, normally this person will have something on them. They'll have gleaned everything they can out of their personal life so that they can use it against them with their family, neighbors, or just their reputation itself. I could give you different examples out there where this has happened very easily. And I'm sure you could have too. Because you see it out there, and people will say, well, if you do this, I'm going to do this. It's a form of blackmail. It's control. Is it right? Well, only you can decide that. How would you use this information? You know, we have people out there in the news media right now that have used this type of a blackmail where they've got something on somebody. They've filmed them. They've got them on recordings on them. And they use that so they can control the world around them, and that allows them to do things that they would never be able to do without that being able to make people fear of them with the blackmail. And I'm only showing during this segment of what a narcissist can do when he's forming like a cult, okay? There are so many things that I can talk about, and I will talk about them if you people really want to hear about it, if you want to put it to work. The biggest thing I would like you to understand is don't use this information to attack. Use it to protect yourself. That's it. I'm not here to make it so you can go back and destroy somebody. I'm not here to do that. I told you before, I would like to build and protect people rather than tear them apart. And that's the purpose and why I'm trying to give you some of the tactics of a narcissist. I'm not calling anybody out for it. If I give you an example, it'll be an example of just an example of the behavior, not to hone in on any one individual. And part of this will be an opinion, and part of it will be where I've taken excerpts from somebody who is out there that may be an expert in that type of a personality. And you can't necessarily call it a complete disorder. It's only in how it's used that it becomes a disorder. Some of these things that a narcissist does are understandable because of, say, running a business or trying to make things come out right on the other end, but they know when to back off. But when they take advantage of their ability to control, that is where we run into a problem. And the way they feel about people within their grasp, that can become a problem for a narcissist. They don't know how to back off. To me, I would rather be following more of a Christian way, more than I even do to this day. I mean, I pray for things, for people. I try to get outcomes influenced by the Lord to come and change things. And I try not to be selfish in that endeavor because I don't think that's right. I've told you different times where my grandmothers have been on each of my shoulders, and I've done something, and one of them will get in my ear and talk to me. That's how I feel, because growing up, these people influenced me to the extent that they were certainly the better part of what my personality maybe was back then, and it has come through to today. It keeps me from stepping off and jumping when I shouldn't. That if I give myself long enough to think about it, it's the only way you can stop good over evil, is you have to have that influence somewhere in your life, something to believe in. Now, a lot of people don't believe in, let's say, the written word of the Lord because it was written down by men. And you can see the influence of men within the Bible, or the scrolls of the Bible, let's put it that way, because that's what the Bible is made up of, these scrolls. And out of those scrolls come a lot of different religions, and not all the scrolls are put into a Bible. Okay, that just to let you know that religion comes from learned people sitting down and giving you the best thing that they can of a conversation that they may or may not have had with the Lord. Some will dispute whether Christ walked the earth, and in my mind, he did. And they wonder, well, why isn't there public records of it? Well, in fact, the Bible, if you look at it, many of the stories of the Bible are a record of what happened at the time. Not necessarily written down, but when somebody always says follow science, but when they do, they look back and they say, well, yeah, this happened in that city. That city fell down, or that city was engulfed. So the times of the Bible are also historic. And why do I refer back to the narcissistic values that are going on today? Is because the cult part of the narcissist, the building of a structure to follow him, follows the cults of religion. And you see it out there in preachers. They get on the TV and they start spouting, and they get thousands and thousands of people out there. And I've seen them sell a praying towel or something. Now, for me, no, I'm not going to follow something like that. When I give, it's from my heart, okay? I'm not going to buy a crying towel or you can't buy favors from our Lord. You can't. And I know when they start using gimmicks like that, what they're about. But let's say that on here, you get the cult build up, and as you go along, you learn how to glean certain monies out of them. And at that point, when you use your influence, it also drives the price of what you're selling on here up along with it. Some call it grifting. But you're using your influence, and they say, well, you know, it's the only way I can make a living. And, you know, there's a certain amount of truth in that for the different individuals. Some get to the point, though, where it's like a train that has run away. not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, on the world itself, but it's good for the person driving the train, isn't it? Because now they have the speed and the power and the weight, and they can do anything they want. They control it. And that's what a narcissist wants, is control over you. And only you can stop it. And you can do it by walking away, understanding the traits. So, am I going to say that we're going to work every time when you walk away? No. The people that are closest to this narcissist, that he has got goods on, they've confessed some of the worst things that ever happened to him. And he has that now. And he will use that to keep you in that circle. You cannot leave until he gives permission. And then he may come knocking on your door again when he needs somebody to fill a slot. A narcissist very seldom can completely be by himself because he needs people to feed him. Like the vampire needs blood, he needs adoration because he himself has put himself on a pedestal. You didn't do it, he did. And he made you believe that he should be there, and therefore you mouth the words that he asked you to mouth. Some of these people like to punish others. You may ring a bell in his head, say something that is a little off. You may tip a glass over on the table, and accidentally it gets over something that he, maybe a slice of bread. And this person may go ballistic because you tripped something that was up here. A narcissist can't always hold it in. They're not always going to be that person that tried to charm you. As things get tighter on them and they start losing people that adore them, they can come unhinged. And the ones that pay for it the most are the people within this circle. One thing, too, about it is they have a hard time holding certain people. People that make his organization work very well also have to have a little bit of intelligence. And sometimes the day comes where they've been butthurt enough that they're going to leave. And when they leave, this person is going to do whatever he can or she can to keep the damage minimal for themselves, or pursue this person to bring him back in and punish him. The first thing that's going to come in mind is, how can I punish this person that is walking away from me, doing me wrong? I don't deserve that. I'm in charge. I'm the one doing the right thing, not them. As they glean money from you, from the cult, okay, you're of the belief that only he knows how to distribute that money. You do. You believe that. And that's why you give him that $1 or $2 or $3, because he's told you, the more I gather, the more I can help. And yet, he becomes the middleman of your money. In other words, he gets the money first. So what's he buy? Cars, houses, vacations, maybe travel the world. And he makes you happy that you provide that for him, but you don't have the money to do it yourself. You have the cult now. It's on this outside. And he's just told you what he needs, and you are providing it financially. Yeah. Along with adoration, you're giving him everything that you have to this person until you can walk away, if you can ever walk away. So how does that person explain that? Well, they tell you the need is there, and he is the only one that can distribute it in a manner that'll help the needy. And yet who gives the most of their self? The needy themselves. They do. They give it. And he's there gladly with a smile to take it. And yet he'll tell you, don't give unless you can. But he gives you every reason in the world to give. He makes you feel bad if you don't. He may sit back and say, I didn't get enough this month. I can't help the people I wanted. I have this goal. Or he may say, I have been attacked. I have been attacked. What can I possibly do but fight back? I have to have something. If you can finance this in some way, then he may even ask for prayers. But the dollar bill is more important to him, and he's going to figure out a way to get them brought in. And boom, it's like a big snowball effect, and it comes. The bigger a person like this gets, the more it comes in, and the harder it is to break out of that shell. Well, this is segment 1 of how this person builds this cult following. And I'm going to try to get into more as we go along. This one will say, title-wise probably, segment 1, building the cult. I hope you come back for another session. I haven't made this too overly long. I'm in the less than 30 minutes. Like I say, I don't want you to use this on any one person. I'm not calling anybody out in here. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to build you up so that you know what to expect when you're dealing with a person that's building a cult, that is a narcissist, how they operate, and eventually we're going to get into the different ways of how you can get outside of that circle far enough so that you can walk away without being pursued. What I'm telling you is, you gave them the ammunition to control you. And in the beginning of the relationship, you didn't know you were doing it. You had no idea what that information was being used for. It could be something as simple as a conversation being recorded, and all of a sudden, a piece of it becomes public because you said something he didn't like or she didn't like. A piece of it got out there. And during that part is the threat behind it. I could release it all. The threat, that's it. And it is, as far as I'm concerned, it is a form of blackmail. But you fed it, you gave it. How do you walk away from it? So, we're going to explore a lot of different avenues as we talk through this. Like I say, a long time ago, I wanted to go ahead and figure out how I could build people up rather than tear them apart. And the biggest problem I see out there that we're dealing with, quite frankly, are people that have the tendencies that a narcissist has. Not that they are, but they may be using those different avenues to control you and your money and the environment around them. That's it. And it's up to you to decide where you fit within this group. We all, on a daily basis, are going to deal with people like this. I just want to make it so you can protect yourself. And for you that are still stuck in it, hopefully we can talk you how to get out. And for you that have stood up to the point where you've been able to get out of a relationship like that and survive it and are still out there moving on your own, I can congratulate you. I think that you're a strong person when you've once done that. And you have a lot of the keys for other people to be able to do that. And at a different time, we'll run some live shows where you can give some of that experiences if you want in the comment sections. And by the way, somebody made a comment not too long ago about that I was on a super chat begging for money. I have not been paid so much as 1 red cent for anything on this channel in 10 years that I've been up. Okay? I don't ask you for money for me. I may recommend or ask you to go to somebody else that they may have a GoFundMe or some way where they need to raise funds that you can help them out if you wish. I don't beg for it. I just give you the opportunity if you want to help somebody out. I have not asked for anything for myself. So please, don't spread the lies out there. It's not going to do you any good. People can come on here. They know the difference. If you want to come in here and observe what I'm doing, that's fine. That's up to you. Just don't put words in my mouth. And for that, I'm done for the day. We're cutting it off at 30 minutes and 20-some seconds. Good day. Have a great day. Ta-ta.